Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Let's go ahead and get into today's tarot. I just wanted to remind you before we do that I am still offering sliding scale donation-based readings, either astrology or tarot readings, through August 15th. So you just need to schedule some time with me and make sure we take care of that before then in order to get that discount. Aside from that, I also wanted to let people know that I do accept donations. Some people have been reaching out to me, telling me how valuable these videos are daily. And so I just wanted to let people know I do accept donations that help me be able to continue to create these videos. And I will leave that information down in the description below. So let's go ahead and get into today's tarot. I want to call this reading for today "Got Love?" ? Because we are going through a time right now where Virgo has Venus in it, and Venus is this really loving, abundant planet that wants to express its love and wants to be in community and share time with people. And yet it's in Virgo, which can be kind of restrictive and nitpicky in some ways. So we're all kind of working with that energy depending on where the house of Virgo, or which house Virgo is sitting in your chart. And today our opening card is the Two of Cups, but it came in upside down. So this is telling me that there's some relationship that we're working with in our life that just doesn't feel reciprocal, or that's out of balance in some way. Perhaps we feel like we're giving a little bit more than we're getting, or it could be the opposite. We're actually getting more than we're giving. Because typically this card, right side up, is a very compatible relationship. But because it came in upside down, it's telling me that there's some energy that's off in this relationship in our life. And it isn't necessarily, isn't necessarily an intimate relationship. It could be any one-on-one relationship, a business partnership, a very close friend, someone that you have an exchange with that feels out of balance right now. Now, the challenge that we're facing today is the Nine of Wands. So our challenge is that we are facing a lot of scenarios that have come up in the past that are triggering us in some ways. Perhaps we are more sensitive to this situation because of things that have happened in our past, because this is someone who learns from past experiences. So it's like we're, in this exchange with someone that doesn't feel reciprocal, but it's also bringing up anything that's happened in the past that is similar, and it could be triggering us. Or we could literally be looking at all the instances that happen with this individual, and we're just kind of replaying them over in our mind. And that's a challenge for us today, because our mind can be fixated on it, and in some ways we can beat ourselves up with where we take our mind. You can see that the person in this card looks like they've been through a little bit of a battle. They have some wounds. They look a little scruffy. So it's bringing up these experiences in our life, and it's challenging for us. Now, the way that we're getting through this energy today is the Five of Wands, more wands. So the fives are all about making a decision. It's like the fork in the road in Roman numeral system, because it has that V shape. So you can go one direction, you can go another direction. And you can see that these figures in this card each have a wand. There's 5 of them. And they look as if they're either fighting each other or they're training in some way. And so this is reminding us that how you engage in a situation and what you decide to engage in a situation is ultimately going to be the shaping of your experience, right? Do you want to engage in a combative way, or do you want to engage in a way that is working with someone, because these people could either be training, as I said, or they could be fighting each other. And so it reminds us that life is a dance. And while you may feel an initial response to react in a really negative way, it can be useful to slow down and actually try to work with the situation rather than go in it in a combative way all the time. The overall outcome that we have for today is the Page of Pentacles. Interestingly enough, this card is associated with Virgo. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the reading, we currently have Venus in Virgo right now. So if you have your natal chart, pull it out, look at where Virgo is, and that's where you're going to be feeling that energy of Venus in Virgo. And so this is an energy of analyzing things, looking at the parts, looking at our value system, looking at practical matters. So this is an energy of examining the parts, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, for example, some mornings you may wake up and you may have an excitement for the day, right? And some mornings you may wake up and you may feel pretty crappy, right? We woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And I don't know if you've ever had these mornings where you wake up with this inner dialogue of grumpiness, right? Like the grumpy dwarf wakes up or the sneezy dwarf wakes up, right? One of the 7 dwarfs comes into your day as yourself. And yet there's something else that holds a boundary to that. And for me, I draw the experience of when my mom was sick before she passed away, and she was coming to visit, and I felt myself starting to get sick. And however I did it, was like, I cannot get sick. Whereas there are other days, perhaps in my life where, you know, I was fine with getting sick because I really didn't want to go to work that day. And it was like, yeah, I'm sick, calling in, don't want to go. But this day I was actually feeling really unwell, but I couldn't be unwell. And I muscled through it. I basically got out of the mindset of like the grumpy dwarf. I got into the mindset of, you know, Doc, and I engaged a different part of myself to engage in the day. And so this energy of examining the parts is looking at, for instance, if you feel that there is a relationship or an exchange in your life that is out of balance, like, can you see where that person creates balance in other ways? Can you look at things from a practical way? Can you look at things also from a place of service? Because there's these 2 different energies in Virgo. There's one energy that is, you know, a lot of people know this energy of Virgo, the analytical energy, the critic, because they're looking at everything in such a very compartmentalized way, and they're looking at every single detail, and they're very efficient and very practical, and they don't have space to like for error. So they're very precise. They're perfectionists, which can get really irritating for some people, but can be really exciting for others, because they see how people who have a strong Virgo in their chart by some way, their rising sign, moon sign, sun sign, or lots of planets in Virgo, have this really high attention to detail. But it can be defeating. However, Virgo also has this energy when it's in its evolved space of being of service and knowing what small thing needs to be shifted so that the whole thing can fall into place. And so it's bringing that up. You know, if we can look at our lives today and look at what we value and give gratitude to what we value and take care of practical matters and put our attention on that and being of service to those that we love and we care for, that will get us through this period where Venus is going through Virgo. And another useful way of doing this is actually putting a high attention to detail and service and support to relationships that you love and to your surroundings. So it can be really useful to tidy up your surroundings, get rid of things that are no longer practical and no longer useful, that are just taking up space. It can also be, you know, a great time right now just to tend to things that are loving and nurturing to yourself, because we do have this energy that tends to be overcritical, and too often in our culture we turn that glare inward. So that is our tarot reading for today. If you are interested in getting one for you specifically, reach out and we will set up some time. I send you so much love and many blessings as we go through this transition, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.